Whoo, so we are officially recording. So what's going on? Welcome everybody into the mind. I'm your host, Marlon Johnson. I'm a former parkour athlete turned serial entrepreneur, and I'm currently on a mission to become a multimillionaire before the age of 30 so that I can take what I've learned back to my community. So this show is all about sitting down with other investors, entrepreneurs, and high achievers to learn their lessons, learn from their mistakes, and be able to emulate the processes that they needed in order to achieve success. So today I'm chilling with my guest, Alejandro Alvarez, and I'm excited to have him on the show because since I got into real estate, a few people have been on my radar, and Alejandro actually got put on my radar back in November. My boy Luciano put his social media onto me, and I was like, yo, this guy's got style, this guy's got aesthetic, this guy's crushing it with his business. And I was just like, I'm following, right? Like, I don't follow a lot of people on IG, but I was like, I am following this man. And so much to the point where I was like, yo, I need to actually reach out and connect with him. So maybe about 2 weeks ago, Alejandro and I, we jumped on a phone call. We connected. I think that phone call is probably like 2 hours long. First time us
Yeah.
talking, just jumping on a FaceTime. And just immediately I was like, yo, this is a brother. This is a brother right here. So I'm excited to have you on the show. We started diving a little bit into your life and your business, but I wanted to save it for the show today. So I would love, Alejandro, if today we can dive into a little bit about your backstory, a little bit about your history, what you got going on today in business, and really see where this rabbit hole takes us today.
Heck yeah. Let's do it, bro. Thank you so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, bro. Welcome to the show. So first off, before we go anywhere with this, I do got to ask one question, man. Like, bro, how did you get such dope style, man? Like the aesthetic is so freaking on point. Where I'm looking at your background, I'm like, bro, I low key like we should be switching. I should be on that side of the camera. You should be on this side of the camera. You can't have a better background than the host.
No, man, I hear you, man. Honestly, dude, it's just a lot of like YouTube and Pinterest. I always get ideas from there, and I've always liked that low key dark vibe. Like I have dark curtains. I mean, it's daytime right now, but you can't even tell. It literally looks like I'm somewhere else in the dark. Yeah, so I love it. If like it helps me focus personally. Everyone is different. The less distractions you have, the more focused you are in whatever task you're doing. So having the window closed, I don't have to, if a bird hits the window or something, or if something is flying by, or the train is passing by, or seeing whatever. If I have access to other stuff that my eyes can catch, it will distract me. So I try to stay as focused as possible, and just being here in a dark room helps me.
Man, I like it, bro. I like it because it looks sick, and that makes a lot of sense. And that's something that we spoke about. So we're gonna be coming back and talking about that in a little bit about that focus. And if you see me looking down at any point, by the way, I like to take notes when I'm talking to people.
No problem.
So let's jump into a little bit about your background, man, because for those people that don't know, you are currently in real estate. You are a real estate investor, an entrepreneur yourself. But let's go back before real estate, before this road of entrepreneurship. Who were you? Where were you? And what were you doing?
Sure. So I was born in Dominican Republic.
Oh shit.
At the young age, my mom moved to Saint Martin. That's a French island in the Caribbean. Saint Martin, it's a French and Dutch island. They do teach English there. So I grew up learning a lot of languages. So the main one being Spanish and English. Spanish was only from home because my family, they're Dominicans. English at school, but they mostly taught Dutch and French. So I grew up, learning French, learning Dutch, um, and I think just from growing up there, I got to experience a lot of like different cultures. Because St. Martin, it is a tourist island, and so you see a lot of culture. So there's a lot of ethnicity that's living there in St. Martin. So I've always grew up around just different environment. Um, but after that, I think at the age of I want to say 14, moved to Puerto Rico, probably for like a year and a half or so. And then after that, that's when I first moved to America. That was in 2011, I want to say, and I moved to Georgia. Georgia's dope, man. Love it, Atlanta. Um, and I think my the first job I ever got was a Kirby. I don't know if you ever heard of Kirby vacuums.
Kirby. Oh shoot, yeah, I know Kirby vacuums, man.
So it was door to door sales, man, and that was my first sales job. I think I was 16, 17 at the time. I just wanted to make money, man. I didn't know about the whole pyramid scheme. Someone just told me, hey, this is what the vacuum thing does, and you just go knock on people's doors. So that was my first taste of sale. You know, at the time, I don't know what sale was. It was just like, hey, okay, if someone buys this, I make money. Um, so after that, um, I moved to Texas. I was going to high school. Believe it or not, I dropped out of high school sophomore year.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah, dropped out of high school sophomore year. Has to do a lot with ego. I think the teacher was telling me something like, "Hey, you're not doing good in class, so you have to go to like this other school." And I was like, "Nah, I don't want to. I don't want to do that." So I moved to Texas with my grandma at the time. My grandma lost her husband in Puerto Rico, so I moved to with my grandma in Texas because she was by herself. So I wanted to keep her company. And at that time, um, I saw the school, how the school was working here in Texas, and I just wasn't feeling that vibe. Because if you ever been to Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of like, it's more culture over there. It's a lot more things going on. Here in Texas is a little bit, well, not a little bit, way more different. And I was like, dude, like I'm not gonna go back to school. Like I just don't like this environment. So I got on, I don't know what website I used to find a job. And then I was 17 at the time, and I got a job at valet downtown Dallas at the Fairmont Hotel. I was valet. The guy
Okay.
was like, "Okay, you're gonna be 18 in a few months. Just make sure you get your license." And he let me in a job. And dude, like that was like my first taste of like what success looks like, because at the Fairmont, it's a high end hotel.
Huh.
So a lot of people were coming in with Aston Martins, Lamborghinis, Bentleys. I saw Tyrese there, Tyrese and Rev Run, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. And then one time I saw this guy pulled up in an Aston Martin like with a suit on, and I'm looking down on myself. I'm like, God, I can't even afford that. And I asked the guy, I'm like, hey, like, what do you do? Like, what do I need to do to get a car like that? He was like, man, real estate. I'm like, no way. And then I was like, how do I get started? And no BS, the dude he told me, read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Get out of here.
I'm
Yo,
serious.
let's go.
I'm serious. I'm like, okay, so keep in mind, dude, I'm a high school dropout. This guy's talking about reading books. I'm like, what? But whatever. I saw what he had, and when you see someone that's at a level that's doing something that you want to achieve, you gotta listen, man. You gotta put the
Mm-hmm.
ego to the side, and you have to listen. So got the book, read it, and then I started meeting friends, around Dallas that's doing wholesaling, real estate, and we had like groups coming in about, they had like little meetups, and I don't know what it was. Someone just said wholesale. I don't know what the heck it was. They just said Bennett sign, handwritten mail. I think this was back in 2014, and I I went ahead and bought some Bennett sign, because he was like, you can buy it or you can handwrite. And I was like, well, I'm pretty lazy. I'm not gonna handwrite that. So I bought it. So I bought some Bennett signs. So I put him everywhere. I didn't know what to put him. I didn't know you have to put him like in an intersection after 6 on Friday, so the city will come back and take it away. I didn't know any of that, and that didn't work out. I mean, I bought a flip phone from Walmart, and I got a phone call. I think it was from a wholesaler. It was, hey, are you a buyer? Da 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 da. And I think I got maybe one lead, but I sent it out to someone and never heard back from it. He might, I don't know if he sold it or whatever, but I never got a call back. But after that, man, I was so obsessed with just having like dope stuff, like because in St. Martin, I've never, especially Dominican Republic, it was a third world country, bro. So like we don't have like nice things. My family
Yep.
didn't were never well made off. I mean, we were really poor. I'm talking about, I lived in a house that was made of aluminum, hot, hot in the Caribbean, right? So so that nice stuff, dude. I got obsessed. So I think after that, I got into the dealership. It was a job before that, but that's a whole nother long story. I'm trying to keep it short. After I got into the dealership, after this whole wholesale bandit sign, I'm like, man, this thing is not working. What is this? Whatever. So I got into the dealership. My friend was showing me like how much he was making. He was making like $7,000. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. So I got into the dealership. I think I was I want to say 20, 21 at the time when I got into the dealership,
Yep.
and literally, literally like 2 months after I started, becoming like top sales, because I'm bilingual. I speak Spanish and English, and just started selling cars. And then I remember when I saw my first freaking $17,000. It was like I made like 20,000 and something in 1 month, but the taxes was so high. I didn't even know anything about taxes like that,
Yep.
dude. But when I saw a tax deduction over $4,000, I'm like, who is this person taking my money? Like, what is going on? And yeah, I started making a lot of money there, man. And long story short, I left, then I came back. Um, at the time, I had a girlfriend, and we were dating. I think it was like 2.5 years, and working at dealership. I don't know if you know those type of hours, they're like 70, 80 hours a week. And I was the guy that was
Ooh.
there from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. or 11 p.m. if I need to, because I was the guy being bell to bell. Because I worked in the BDC department, which is Business Development Center.
Yep.
So I get fed leads every morning. So if you're there first thing in the morning before everyone, you get the first lead. So that was always me. I want to get the first lead. And dude, I didn't have time for myself. Like I had no life. I couldn't even give time to my girlfriend at the time. And she wants to do this. I'm like, man, I can't. Like I had one incident where her family flew out from the United Kingdom. She was British, and they came out to see me. Dinner was at 6, and I couldn't go. So, but I had to make an excuse to leave. And I was like, dude, like I have no life, and I was late everything, bro. So it was terrible. So that's when I was like, man, what can I do to make 3x the money and spend half the time working? Well, oh yeah, I do. I remember about real estate. So then I reached out to a guy that I met back in 2014, and I did some acquisition for him. And the first thing he had me do was cold calling, which at the time I didn't know it was cold calling. I just thought I was, I'm about to close a deal because I'm used to getting fed leads, right? And he was like, man, I can't promise you that you're gonna make $10,000, $15,000 a month, but I can promise you there's gonna be a lot of opportunities. And I was like, holy crap, man, I don't know. Like I have a lifestyle, right? Um, dude. So thankfully, I had some money in the bank, but I didn't make I didn't make anything for the past next 2 months because
Ooh.
I was cold calling, and I'm like, dude, like these people are not interested in selling. Like, what am I doing? And then he started telling me, hey, you don't have access to the leads yet. We're just giving you blah blah blah. Giving you a test run. So I had access to leads. I think my first check. Here, I'll show you.
Oh, my man's got it hanging on the wall. I love it.
Oh yeah, bro. I'm trying to keep his information private. So let me see here.
Got it framed. Let's
Three
go.
three $360.
Yo, let's go. That's a check, bro. That's proof of concept.
That's a check, bro. I don't remember what percentage he was giving me for acquisition at the time, but it was $360. But that's all I needed to
Mm-hmm.
let my mind know like this shit is actually. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if I can curse here.
Nah, you can curse, bro.
Okay, perfect. So that was the first check that I was like, holy shit, this is possible. I just literally made some money by being behind a computer desk without having to go see a property, and I just got paid for it. And I think my next deal after that, I made the wholesale company $70,000. That was my second deal. It was a mobile home somewhere. I forgot where it was. And the guy said, I'm not taking anything less than this. And I was like, okay, no problem. He's interested in selling. So I put it on a contract. And next thing you know, we sold it for $70,000 over.
Damn.
And yeah, I don't know how much my check was, but I think it was pretty close to like 10 grand. Wasn't wasn't really much, but compared to the dealership. Um, but then I was like, dude, like all this, like, where's all this money going? Like, how do I get this started? And then he started teaching me ways. He taught me the basics. Obviously, when you have a company, you want to give everyone your blueprint, the ins and out. I mean, at least some people don't, right? Um, but yeah, he decided to go full virtual. Um, long story short, we weren't ready to hear that type of news because we still had like bills to pay and all that stuff.
Mhm.
It was me and my cousin, which is he's now my partner, Ricky.
Yep.
He's like he's a beast at dispo. He's beast at dispo and like tracking down buyers. I mean, this dude just if he doesn't get a hold of the buyer, he calls the buyer's wife. Like he figures out he figures out on his own. So we're out of the office and now we started running our own business and we just had to start from scratch, right? But it really wasn't from scratch because we already had the knowledge of
Yep.
what to do.
So hold it up for 1 second there, because first off, damn, I had no clue how deep the story went, bro.
Oh
Like,
man, dude.
I
I
had
don't know how
no
to
clue.
make it any shorter.
No, yo, this is the thing, man. This is why I love podcasts. Like, this isn't the platform to make it shorter. This is the platform where it's like we want to get the details. Like the people that come here, like they really want to understand, right? They want to dive into the mindset and see the evolution. So we had a pretty cool evolution here, right? Because if we take it back, essentially you were in high school, you recognized like, yo, this ain't for me, right? So you decided to drop out, but you decided like I'm still gonna go make something of myself. I'm still gonna be productive, and you got your job. And what's cool, what's interesting, because when you said you were doing the valet and you saw this wealth essentially, like I wrote down, yo, you had exposure, like you got exposure to success. And yesterday somebody was asking me like, how do you change a person? And I was like, look, you don't ever change a person, but if you give them exposure, they can change themselves if they want it. So you got this exposure and you were told, like you were brave enough to ask, like, yo, what did you do to get here? And he said, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Did you actually end up picking that book up? Did you end up actually reading it?
Yeah, I read it twice.
Yo, let's go. So you pick up the book. So you got advice. And like, I want people to recognize this and to really be listening. You got advice and you took it. Like
Mm-hmm.
somebody that was doing something bigger than you said, do this, and you actually did it. Because sometimes people ask for advice, but then they don't take it. And then they wonder why people stop wanting to talk to them and stop wanting to give them advice. So you took the advice, you applied it, you read the book twice, you actually did go out and start doing your own thing, right? And I want to emphasize this because I don't want people to gloss over this fact. You tried real estate, like you went out, you took action, and it didn't naturally blossom right away, right? Like you put out the bandit signs, you didn't really get much calls, and it didn't turn into much. And you went to the dealership, so there was a first attempt that happened, and then there's this slight intermission where you're now still pursuing. Essentially, you didn't give up on your goals. You still knew you wanted nicer things. You saw a place, an opportunity where you can go earn, where you can go make something of yourself. But recognizing that you didn't have enough time because time is valuable. Time is way more precious than anything else we have. So you recognize you got to figure out how to get your time back. And it brought you back to real estate where you had proof of concept. Now you actually, got a full revolution around the sun, I call it, and you made income from this. You produced money and you realize, holy crap, this is real. And as the business shut down that you were with, like you were working acquisitions for, when that started to go virtual, you and your cousin did it on your own. You guys said, you know what, we're going to go out and go on our own, right? I got all that right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
All right, perfect. I want to make sure I'm following, man, because this is some really cool stuff. Because I want to highlight the fact that it's a journey. It is a process because some people are going to look and just be like, yo, Alejandro only got 8 posts. Like he just got on Instagram 10 days ago and he's just crushing it. It only takes 8 days to crush it on in real estate. Like, yo, there's a journey. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So you and your cousin
Nicely
now,
said.
yep. So you and your cousin now decide, all right, we're about to build our own thing. Right. We got to see a little bit of the ins and outs of a working business. And let me ask, did it also help having come from the dealership, being able to see another working business, another sales business there as well? Like, or was it more sort of real estate and what you were doing in the dealership were two totally different worlds?
You want me to be honest, bro? I
Please.
think, um, like the closer I am today, it goes way before the dealership. It starts in St. Martin in the Caribbean because I got to experience so many different cultures that having conversations with these different people from different places, it kind of opened me up to like, okay, not everyone is the same. So it kind of made me it was kind of it was easy for me to transition to however that person is speaking to me. So I think what I have, the powerful skill that I have that made me a great closer. Literally any sales job I have, I come top sales, is mirroring people, mirroring.
Mm.
And I believe that goes way back from all the way to St. Martin. So that's where I got that from. Because in real estate, all we doing is just talking to people.
So see, this is what happens because you drop a gem and then we can't just like walk over. I'm not gonna step over the diamond. Like we're gonna pick the diamond up here. So what you said is actually really powerful, right? That exposure that you had to different cultures, to different people, ultimately gave you the ability to communicate,
Right.
right? And this is something I stress because a lot of people have asked, even of myself, they said, how do you, like, they noticed that I have the ability to build rapport very quickly.
Right.
And
Right.
they asked, where did that come from? And I told them two places. When I was younger, I got exposed to travel at a very young age, which helped put
Let's
me
go.
into a lot of different rooms with a lot of different people and a lot of different realities, right? You know, you go to Trinidad and life is one way, you go to Germany, life's a whole nother way. So it just exposes you to a lot of things. And then I was fortunate enough to work with kids coaching, I had over 1,000 students, and I learned that each little kid spoke differently. They learned differently. So it taught you how to say the same thing 12 different ways, 30 different ways, 40 different ways.
Exactly.
So I love that you bring it back to that. It's really this ability to communicate and mirror and really speak another person's language, calibrate to the language they're speaking. And that doesn't mean English to English, but it means just being able to understand them at a more human, at a more fundamental level.
Exactly. Exactly, bro. And I honestly really believe that's really where that comes from. Because just even with door knocking, like I was just comfortable speaking
Mm-hmm.
with other people, with strangers. I was comfortable because I grew up that way. And however they decide, to whatever energy they have is the energy that I match. That's always the best conversations.
Ooh, and we're gonna get back to that. We're gonna trust me. We're coming back to energy in a little bit, bro. Because I think that's something we can't gloss over. So before we start, because I would go down this rabbit hole all day. Before we go into really talking about communicating and connecting with people and energy, I want to know. So as you start your business, right, and now it's officially your business, right? Like it's you and your cousin. You guys are getting into business for yourself. What did that look like in that beginning stage? Was it an immediate, like rocket ship launch off the ground, or was it like I have no clue? I genuinely want to know.
But it wasn't a rocket ship. But to be honest, like when that happened, like the other wholesale company just wanted to go virtual. My cousin was freaking out. He was freaking out. He was like, "Dude, what are we gonna do? We have this $3,000 apartment. We have like what's gonna happen, right?" And I was like, "Bro, like, how did you make money last month?" He was like, "By selling the deal. Do you know how to do that still?" Yeah. Okay. So what are you concerned about? And literally, I think it's Friday that happened. I think the whole weekend I'm processing, seeing what's gonna happen next. Monday, I took, and I usually don't take Adderalls, but I popped an Adderall on Monday. I popped an Adderall on Monday. I had like my stand up desk. Got up all day from like morning, and I started making cold call. I was cold calling from Mojo Dialer in Georgia. I'm in Texas. I'm cold calling in Georgia. I pulled the list. I did it in Georgia because I didn't. The guy that brought me into his acquisition
Mm-hmm.
got me so much that I didn't want to compete with him. So I said, let me go market in Georgia. Right? I didn't have to do that, but I did it anyways. So I marked it in Georgia. I'm cold calling. No BS. 15 minutes later, I get a deal. We have a buyer. $3,000 right there and there. It was a small deal because it was a small little place in Georgia. It's like a small little city, but there was a lot of buy and hold investors there, and I already had a buyer in mind and closed the deal. And my cousin was like, "Wow, like how did you do that?" I'm like, "Bro, I just up the phone and start dialing. Just pick up the phone and start dialing. And immediately, even though I did that, I wasn't excited to get back on the phone and cold call. I hate cold calling. Like I'm like a person of just positive energy and just having to observe these people, all these negative, and why are you calling me? Get off the phone. Are you a scammer? I'm like, man, are you having a bad day? Like, relax. So I don't like cold calling. I don't want to do that. So I came up with this other idea. Dude, we had like no funds for like marketing or anything. Um, so I came up with this other idea. I'm like, hey, I'm a great closer. Let me reach out to other wholesalers that need help with closing deals. So, you know, I reached out to a wholesaler. He was like, "Yeah, man, I have tons of lead and blah blah blah." Got into his system. He had like thousands of untouched leads. I'm like, "Oh my god, what is this? What untouched leads? What are we doing?" So literally, I got on the phone. I think that first week got a deal from it, and my like I said, my cousin, my partner Ricky. I have two partners now. One is Jason, one is Ricky. Jason's helped me with the acquisitions, but he recently got on board on I want to say November. Yeah, November, I believe. Um, but yeah, Ricky's just skip tracing people, and I think he knew someone that wanted to sell a property, and he got on the phone with that person and he locked up that deal, and that deal right there made us like $18,000 or $19,000. So that's what helped us to finally get a budget, go hire a VA, get some marketing going, and that was the first thing we did. But honestly, I didn't want to hire VAs. I didn't want to do like our own marketing because I had this vision where if I just reach out to other wholesalers that need help, we can just have them pay for the marketing and we just close it. We have like our own agreement on how we split deals. And, so we went that route. And funny enough, towards January, we made way more money than we did in our own database. And February, which was what, last month, right?
Yep.
That's when we hit that. Excuse me. That's when we hit that six-figure deal in North Carolina, and I got
Let's
that from
go.
a JV wholesaler, a joint venture deal. And he was like, "Dude, we did that just from JV, like other wholesales." I'm like, "Yeah, if you think about it, once we bring in a VA and we start marketing all these subscriptions, our overhead is going to skyrocket all the way to like 35 to 40%. Why don't we just give that 40% or 50% to another JV and let us just handle the phone calls and less stress without having to manage his VAs and just make money that way?" So, boom, problem solved. Now I don't have to manage a VA. I just close deals for other wholesalers and we make money on it. And then my partner handles the acquisitions and the TC part of it.
Let's go. So what I love there, right, is if people were paying attention, there's vision, right? Like you actually you had this idea like where you stop and you think, because I think what happens is a lot of times like people get in, they make a deal happen, like how you said that first, by the way, 15 minutes, that's insane. But you popped into the zone and you went and you just did the work, right? You showed up and you just started doing the work, and that's a part of the process, right? We don't know where the gold lies on the trail, but like if you just start walking the trail, it might be in the beginning, it might be in the middle, it might be at the end. Who cares? Like just start walking. So you start walking, you get that goal, you figure it out, and then you sit and you say, okay, cool, it works still. How do we do this even better? Right. And actually coming up with that idea of being able to work with other wholesalers. I mean, that's genius, right? Like that's adding value on top of value, because now you're not just taking care of yourself, you're also taking care of others, right? You're getting rid of redundancies and you're helping somebody else in the industry grow and progress in their business as well.
Exactly.
So that's a fire model, bro.
It
So
is, brother.
yeah, man, I love
I
that.
love it.
So you start to recognize that this works, and essentially this is the model that you're running right now, where it's like essentially people will be able to JV with you, you will lock their deals up for them, and everybody gets across the finish line with a smile.
Yep. Everyone.
Freaking
right?
love it.
Because the wholesalers that are giving us access to their database, they know that they're not comfortable closing deals yet. They have too many leads to follow up on. So I come in and I provide that value and just close the deals from there.
Yo, let's go. And what I like is, see, I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't highlight this because there's somebody listening and they're like, yo, I'm about to do the exact same formula, right? And cool, go ahead. Like, there's more than enough deals out there for all of us to do this formula. No ifs, ands, or buts. However, if they're really paying attention, notice that Alejandro says he was getting on the phone, he was locking up the deals, and he had a partner, right? He had Ricky in the background, right? He was throwing the alley oop, and Ricky was coming in with a dunk, right? So he had to diss both sides. So he was able to stay focused on one thing, right? He was able to keep
Yes.
laser focused on what he's good at. And then when it came time to pass the contract over his shoulder, somebody else was able to take it, get it to the finish line. And like he said, less stress, less overhead. The deal moves to the finish line. That's crucial. So you built out a system. You had a systemized approach at this business.
Yeah, exactly. I want to go back a little bit because I skipped a lot of stuff because I'm trying not to speak as much. I want to. I love questions, so I want to make sure I answer all the questions you have. But none of this that I've got going on wouldn't be possible if I wouldn't join the sub two mentorship.
Ooh.
1,000. I'm so serious, bro. Because if I wasn't part of sub two, I wouldn't have access to Pace. And what Pace did for me and like my life, it's like unexplainable, bro. But a lot has to do with the way I had JV reaching out to me. I was in those YouTube chats whenever Pace was doing like wholesale hotline. I was in the YouTube chat. Hey, who needs help with deals? Closing deals. I speak Spanish. I speak English. I do deals nationwide. Just in the chats, and then our boy Pace, or mentor, or friend, he would shout me out on his YouTube. Hey, if you have any deals in Texas, or if you need any a closer, you need to reach out to Alejandro Alvarez. So a lot of these wholesalers, whenever I reached out to them, the door was already open for me. I didn't like Pace gave me that credibility to, hey man, Pace speak highly of you. Please take all my leads, close them for me. So that would never be possible if I wasn't part of the sub two mentorship.
Yo, I love that. Shout
And
out.
and that list, that $155,000 assignment fee, that came from a list that Paste put out, the North Carolina list. And then we had another one for $55,000 from the same list. I'm like, Pace, bro, you're over here providing value everywhere. You don't even know it. Everywhere. The list that he put out came to me from another wholesaler in Virginia. I'm in Texas, and we're closing deals in North Carolina, making huge profits. So, yeah, shout out to Pace. If he ever gets a chance to see this, man, thank you so much, brother. You literally changed my life, helped my partner's change his life, and also my family. So,
Yo, that is the Pace Morby effect right there. For real, big shout out to Pace because Pace has absolutely changed lives. I mean, the fact that you and I are even speaking, right? Like we came together because of that mentorship, right? Like my life is entirely day and night different. I can't give that man enough praise, for the value that he drops, the value that he adds to the world, and what he encourages, right? He encourages like this ethos, the go giver, like that's the ethos of this community. And that man is the living embodiment of that principle and so many more. So I'm right there with you. And I love that,
I
man.
text him. I text him thank you like every single day, bro. Every single seconds I get a chance to say thank you. I wonder if he gets annoyed. I'm like, Pace, thank you. When I do my morning gratitude, like my whole
Yep.
morning ritual, always text him Pace.
Bro, I love that. And like, just to, give him his flowers while he's alive, you know, just gotta throw this out there. Ingrid, you saw Ingrid's post yesterday, right? I was talking to her. She just locked up that they closed. They finally closed on that $250,000 assignment deal that came from Pace's list, that came from squatting up. This was another wholesaler who squatted up with Ingrid because Ingrid, like yourself, was in the chats providing value, right? Actually providing value, saying who needs help with comping, who needs help with this, who needs help with that. Gets on the phone with this kid who's getting ready to just give up, because he hadn't gotten a deal yet. And Ingrid says, "Look, I'll help you out with that. I'll work it with you." He thought he was going to get maybe a $5,000 or $10,000 assignment. He got a $50,000 assignment as his very first deal for a deal that Ingrid locked up, and she took over to Anthony, who does land, Anthony Pappas, and he got the deal sold. They each made 100K a piece, and this kid made 50K on his very first deal squatting up. So it's a testament that when we go out and we add value and we help each other, that's where value is given. That's where you make the most amount of return on anything. So I love that, bro. Yeah,
Can I give you
like,
a quick
oh,
story on where that money went? That 155K assignment fee.
let's go. Let's hear it.
So the JV partner, I mean, I don't want to get into much detail because a lot of it's personal, but let's just say the money he received changed him and his family's life. His partner is 16 years old, still in high school. The, the dude doesn't even have a bank account. So we had to wire the funds to his mom's account. I couldn't even imagine like what his mom was thinking when she got that huge check in her account. Like, what's going on? And he texted me. He was like, "Man, thank you so much. Right now, my mom and I can finally get a house. We can finally have enough down payment to get a house." And that was just life changing for me, bro. That really touched my heart differently. I'm like, wow, I'm actually like making a difference and impact in other people's life. And then there was a lead manager involved there. Him and his family finally got to go out. I don't want to say finally. That sound I don't know. But they went out to dinner. They were happy. They had this big check coming in. My partner was losing it. And he was just coming from, dude, what are we gonna do, to this huge amount of money in his bank account. He bought something for his mom. He's taking his mom to a resort in Dominican Republic. Um, and then I also put my funds elsewhere. I helped some family in Dominican Republic. I donated it to the kids in need and all that stuff. So that was just amazing. That was just such huge, amazing experiences. See, just like, dude, I was on the phone call with that seller for like literally maybe 8-10 minutes. I closed her. It changed families, like tons of families. Like, wow, that's
That's
just crazy.
that's amazing. So I want to ask you a question, right? Because first off, I love this, right? I get goosebumps. And in my mind, I know, like, I talk to people relatively often each day. And sometimes I hear this, and I'm gonna ask you if you ever heard this. When people will say, "Yo, Alejandro, that's cool, man, but like I don't need such big checks, man. Like, look, I'll be happy with like just like a little $10,000 assignment. I don't need to be rich. I don't need to be a millionaire." Right. But as I listen to you, I'm just like, yeah, but look, here it is. He just had $150,000 assignment come in, and look at what he was able to do. He was able to bless the lives of others, not just himself, but the lives of others. And I think when we want to do good, we actually owe it to the world and owe it to ourselves to actually go out and accumulate as much wealth as possible, because it gives us the the resources to do more. So I'm curious to hear your opinion on that.
As far as when if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, I don't need to be rich or need to make this amount of money,"
Yeah, like, yo, Alejandro, man. Like, look, I don't need to be a million. Look, I just need just enough, man. Like, I don't need all that. I don't need all that extra.
well, first and foremost, that would probably be the first and last time I speak to that person, and I would let him know, "Hey, man, you're that's just really selfish of you to think. What's going on with your mom? What's going on with your family? What's up with your sister, your cousins? What about them? How much money can they have? Is this just only about you? I don't think your purpose is high enough. I don't even if you want to make only $10,000, you're not gonna get there because you don't have a purpose. It's gonna be tough for you, buddy." And then that's probably the last time I'll see that person.
Yo, I like that. Yo, I don't think your purpose is high enough. I like that. And this is a perfect segue into something that you and I connected on, which is energy and the people that we keep, right? Because you said this would essentially would be the last time you saw that person. Why is it? Like, why would you not connect with this person anymore?
because I'm a huge believer in having the right energy around. If you're around five negative people, you're gonna be the next negative person. If you're around, like that guy that came to me with the Aston Martin when I picked the ski up, and I'm like, oh my god, like, hey dude, like, what do you do? He shared his energy with me, and here I am, helping other families, making tons of money that I would have never thought back then before I, had that job that I would have made. Right back then, I was like, oh man, yeah, I was that guy. I was like, I want to make $10,000 a month, and I'll be okay. And then, man, I had to look back at my life. I'm like, dude, what am I really doing here? And you know, that's really where that change came, man. Like I went through a really dark place for like a year, like between the dealership and the entrepreneur thing. Like in that little timeline, I went through a very aggressive self development um, process, and that's where I did the 75 hard. That's when I was reading books. That's when I was part of the mentorship. Just watching Pace, like watching this huge successful guy working harder than me.
Mm.
I was like, what? What's going on here? This guy's successful. Here I am trying to figure out how can I go to bed on time? And this man over here is working his ass off, and he already has it all. He has successful business going on. He is working his ass off. So again, sharing the energy, watching, being around the right people. I'm really low key, bro. I don't know if you notice, like even the sub too. I'm like really low key because I'm docked off. I'm trying to protect my energy because I've spoken to a lot of people that I've tried helping, and it's just excuses after excuses after excuses. This is why I can't make this, or they're trying to do way too much at the same time. I'm like, hey, what do you want? Oh, I want to run my wholesale business. Go get a partner. I don't want to get a partner. I don't want to split the profits. What are you doing? You're not gonna make it, buddy. You have to really sit back and think about what actually you want to do. Do you want to make money or do you want to change lives? To me, for me to wake up in the morning, I know I'm gonna go change someone's lives. If I wake up, I mean, I already made 155K assignment fee, bro. Like, what's my reason to wake up the next morning and act like that shit never happened? My purpose.
Yo, Alejandro, you see what's crazy to me is like you're dropping gems and you're dropping gems in like my favorite kind of way, which is like that calm, like your energy, you have an energy of peace, right? Like it's a calm, like neutral, peaceful energy, which I'm like, yo, I don't meet a lot of people that resonate on the frequency you're on right now. And I love that you're aware of it. And what I want to like point out is you said that man with the Aston Martin, right? Essentially, that was what, 4 years ago, maybe longer now at this point.
Yeah, a little bit longer than that. It was back in 2014.
All right, so that was almost eight. That was about 8 years ago. So what's
Mm-hmm.
cool is you said he shared his energy with you at that point. And I like to use the analogy of like essentially he planted the seed.
Yep.
And if people are paying attention, that seed was planted 8 years ago. That
Yep.
seed needed time to take root. That seed had to be protected and watered and given nutrients. Right. And I think so many of us, we want it fast. And I get it. Like, yo, we all want it yesterday. However, just because it's not here today doesn't mean it's not coming. So you got to protect that energy. So you start to recognize pace. And I love what you said there. This man has everything already. He already is what you would consider successful, and he's outworking you, right? And you're witnessing him outwork you. So this period of like being in the dark, of being in like this personal development stage, right? How long was that? What did that look like for you personally? Because I know a lot of people are starting to enter into their personal development journey currently. And I think we see this caterpillar. We know that the caterpillar has the potential to be a butterfly, and we'll tell the caterpillar, yo, go become a butterfly, go become a butterfly. But it's almost like we completely neglect the cocoon phase, right? And essentially, you went into the cocoon phase, and some people are finding themselves entering it. Some people are in the middle of it right now. What was going on in that cocoon phase? Because some people, I'm afraid, are going to try and break out of that phase a little too soon. and they need to recognize. So I want to hear from you, like, while in that cocoon, what was life like?
Man, that's a good question. By the way, when you said pace outworking me, that shit just gave me the chills just now. I'm like, because it's so true, bro. But man, my whole phase of self development. Oh my god, bro. Let me see how the best way I can explain it to you. I felt like I was in this different universe, full of darkness, full of black clouds over me, dark clouds over me, and I just couldn't escape. Because before that, I felt like I was in a rat race. I was making a lot of money. I was going broke. Just making a lot of money, going broke. Make a lot of money, going broke. I'm like, at one point, I remember I was in Georgia, and I've had nice cars, dude. I had my car repoed before. I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm actually freaking happy that happened to me because I wouldn't be here right now in this podcast with you if that didn't happen. But when that happened, I got my car repoed. I was laying in my mom's leather couch in Atlanta, and I was sweating my ass off because it was so hot. I got up for a second, dude. I was doing DoorDash. I was doing Uber Eats. Another thing that a lot of people don't know about me, I did music in Spanish. Um, I did shows and all that stuff. That's a whole different story. We don't even want to get there. But man, I woke up one morning, my back was sweating, and I didn't have shit in my account. It was like a really quick, like depressing moment for like 2 minutes. I was like, dude, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what's my purpose in this world? And just thinking back, like, even like when my mom was like asking me to like help her with like money, and I couldn't. It was um, it was doing something to me mentally, and I didn't know how to explain it, but it was definitely doing something weird where I felt like I was trying to push out of this universe that I was in, but something kept on holding me back. I just didn't know what it was. And at one point, this was it for me. And hopefully it doesn't get too emotional for me after this. But I had a stepdad. Um, he's the one that showed me a little bit of what it is to not be poor in St. Martin. He was my mom's boyfriend at the time in St. Martin. He was Asian and Jamaican. Isn't that a crazy mix?
Bro.
Chinese and Jamaican. Like what? What kind of like that has a whole interesting story as far as like where how that happened. But closer to I want to say 2019. This is like a year before COVID. He was battling diabetes. Um, I think he came to visit me in Texas one time. He was like, "Hey, the doctor said I only have 10 years," and this was in 2015. I was like, "No, that's BS. No way. There's no way." He was chubby, but then when he came, he was really skinny, like really, really, really skinny. And so a little bit closer to COVID, um, he kept on calling me, kept on calling me through WhatsApp. He was in Jamaica with his mom because like he couldn't even walk because of his knees. I don't know how that works, but like the diabetes was really bad,
Yeah.
and he kept on calling me to ask me for money so he can buy like pills, not pills, but like I guess medicine
Mm-hmm.
to help him with the pain and stuff like that. And then at one point, I stopped answering because I didn't have any more money. I stopped answering because I didn't have any more money. And I think 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a half later, my mom texted me saying he passed away. No BS, bro. That was like the most emotional day for me because he was actually my father. He was a father to me. He's the one that showed me how to be a gentleman. He showed me how to treat, women. He was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life, and I'm glad that I met him because if I didn't, I probably would have been in the streets doing something else. Um, But dude, that hit hard. I've never been like that emotional guy to cry, but I cried that day. I was like, only if I had a little bit more money, could have lived a little bit longer for another 2 weeks, maybe for another month. I didn't know what to do, bro. And that's when it got really, really, really freaking dark for me, dude. I started drinking. Um, I stopped exercising, and that's uh that's when the whole COVID thing went. I went to real estate entrepreneur, and then I started reading like books or started like looking up like what are these entrepreneurs doing? I'm like in this whole dark place, just making excuses like I don't think it's meant for me to be successful because I've always make money and go broke. I don't think it's meant for me. But something I promised when I did take that real estate route, I promised myself I will never let anyone in my family pass away because they lack funds of the right medication ever. So that's when shit started getting serious for me. That's when I literally cut everyone off. I'm like, I have to start from scratch. I need to figure this out. I can't let this happen to any of my family again. It was like consistent, just emotional battles mentally, bro. And that's when I stumbled upon meditation. That's when I started meditating. And, just learning how to meditate, that really helped me. I used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
because something about waking up before everyone and everything being quiet, it was something magical about that. I almost felt like I was um I was able to breathe in peace and think in peace. There was no longer people distracting me, and started meditating from there. I started having like more self-awareness of what's going on in my life. I put the whole drinking away. I looked at myself in the mirror. I was like 215 pounds. I know it's not obese, but dude, I was 185 and ripped. And I'm like, man, what am I doing? Like, and that's when I started doing the whole 75 hard. Started listening to Andy. I don't know if you listen to Andy Frisella, but
Yep.
shit he says literally make you feel like a bitch, pretty much. You're like, hey, dude, if you're thinking like this, if you're doing this, like, you're a bitch. You're a weak bitch. I'm like, damn. So that's when I did the whole 75 hard thing. I'm like, man, I need to change this, not just for myself, but for my family. I have a purpose now that I need to fulfill. And it starts with me having the right mindset. Because I had that self awareness. Meditation really, really helped me have that self awareness of what's going through my mind on a daily basis. And that's when I did the whole 75 hard. And man, like no one around me was doing it. Everyone was like, man, you're crazy. Come on, just take a sip of alcohol. I would literally like delete that person as soon as I hear that. Like, hey
Mm-hmm.
man, like you don't want to see me, become a better person. Like, get away. Um, and yeah, man, I think that's when I did the 75 hard. Something happened. Like I had this confident boost. I'm like, dude, I can do whatever I want. Um, like there's people that literally try the 75 hard thing and fail the second day, the second week. Say, oh my God, what you're doing is dope. I'm gonna try it. Don't try it, just do it. And that was the whole mindset. If you say you're gonna try, you're already gonna fail.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. So I felt like that 75 hard thing, that was I needed to do that. So I did phase one, phase two, then I did 75. I did 75 hard 3 times already. Um, because bro, I was so scared, literally scared to go back to the old person I was. Like after that 75 hard, I felt like I was able to like walk through this bubble, this dark space, this dark universe that I couldn't breathe. I couldn't be successful. I literally just like found my way through it. And that's what 75 hard did to me. Here it is. The first day of 75 hard, it was the biggest snowstorm in Dallas. Mentally, because I had that self awareness, this is a challenge. They want to see me fail. I'm not going to fail. because I had that purpose right there stuck in my mind. I'm like, I'm not gonna fail. What would happen if if today's my last day and I'm in bed? What would I tell my mom? I can't tell her I did everything I could because that would be a lie. So I got up. I didn't have boots. I was walking around my sneakers. It was cold as shit, bro. So I did that, and then for phase three, I literally did it like 3 days after because I was so scared to go back to my old ways.
Mm-hmm.
The first day of first of phase one, I got COVID. The
Yo.
first the first day I woke up, like I felt like something was on my chest, like this heavy thing on my chest. I'm like, what is this? And that's when I felt like I started like having like this. I started feeling like really, really, really cold, really, really cold. Like I was like really cold, bro. And it was summer outside. Guess what's in phase one? You got to take a cold shower. So in my so in my head, I'm like, I had to sit down outside, and I told my partner Ricky. He looked at me. He was like, "Dude, what are you thinking about?" I'm like, "Bro, I don't know who, but someone in this universe want to see me fail. I don't know what it is. Someone is after me, bro." So, dude, I don't know if you got COVID before, but your whole body is weak, like weak, like you don't even want to move.
Mm-hmm.
I would literally have days where I was dragging myself from the bed to do push-ups for 45 minutes, just do push-ups. Even if it was like half-ass, whatever. I was just working out,
Yep.
and I would try to work out in my patio because it's hot outside, so I don't have to be cold. There was time when I was taking a cold shower, but I tried to put the water hot first to see if my body would get warm. But it literally felt like the shower was just the hot water was just bouncing off my body, and my body was just freezing. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? What what do I do now? But long story short, I did phase one, cleared it, and dude, right there when I had the COVID and I still completed phase one, zero compromise. Like the amount of boost I had mentally was insane because everyone else that had COVID, oh, I'm dying, I'm in bed, I gotta drink vitamin C. Oh my God, this is terrible. And I'm like, wait, dude, I was working out twice a day. I was taking cold showers while I had COVID. This is all in your mind. Stop telling yourself that you're dying. Stop telling yourself that you can't do it because you have COVID. It's all in your mind. And people wouldn't understand that. They thought I was crazy. So I'm like, damn, I have to change my circle quick, dude, because I'm around the wrong people. And then when I did phase two, I had this terrible toothache on the day one. Bro, I'm telling you, I can't make this shit up. You can go ask my partner, like on day one. I had this bad toothache. It was so bad that I had to sleep with a pack of ice on the side of my face. And it was causing this major headache during phase two. And now I'm in phase three. I started 3 days ago, and my life is amazing. Everything's freaking great. I write my gratitude every morning. Um, I don't know if you ever heard of the book The Magic. It was The Secret Magic. It was The Secret Magic.
Yeah, I remember you put me on to the Magic. I
Yeah,
read The Secret, but
yeah.
I haven't read the Magic yet.
And then also that in a mix of 5 a.m. Club by I think it's Robin Sharma.
Bro, you
Um,
changed my life with the 5 a.m. Club.
bro,
That book is,
the way he break it down like scientifically with the whole BDNF, like release energy if you wake up early and you sweat as soon as you wake up. I'm like, that's interesting. And just a mix of that, bro. Like, so every time before I go to bed, I write down my task for the next day. Then I make sure I write, the 5 to 10 things I'm grateful for that day. People think it's tough to write a list of gratitude or what you're grateful for, because they look around. The first thing they say, I don't have anything. Are you crazy? You have your eyes, right? Your eyeballs. Some people are blind. You can hear me, right? You can hear me in this podcast, right? Some people are deaf.
we got a full page right here of everything I'm grateful for. I
Oh
wrote that
man.
this morning at about I think it was like 5 o'clock this morning. I wrote that.
Yeah, bro. So like that, just knowing that little things, like just wow, you know what? Like man, I do have toes. I have legs. I have my fingers. I'm able to ride. Like I'm so blessed, bro. I'm grateful for everything. And I was telling my partner this crazy story about like I started one thing that I've got from phase one that I'm still in love with and I'm still doing till this day is 10 minutes of visualization. Manifest. I'm a huge believer in manifesting. And when I was going through, reading Andy Frisella's book and did phase one, something weird was happening where every time I visioned this thing, it started happening. And I was visioning. I don't know. It was like every time I closed my eyes, I was visioning this six figures check just hitting my account and watching my partner's face excited, happy. Watching my mom, hey mom, look, I finally did this. 3 months later, it happened. 3 months later, it happened. Not exactly how I envisioned it, but in the same scenario. Instead of 100,000, it was actually 150.
Let's go.
My
Let's
partner,
go.
my partner was going crazy. My mom was excited. I was like, "Look, mom, I finally did something that is going to help the family a lot. I finally did something, towards my purpose." Dude, that was life changing. And I kept that to myself a little bit. I was waiting until my partners, because every time I start thinking, talking about mindset, he kind of doze off sometimes. He's really into mindset a lot, but not as much as I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to, enjoy that the whole excitement thing. And then I told him, hey, bro, like I vision this, manifested this, man. I'm happy that you're part of it, and yeah.
Bro.
So that's that, bro.
Yo, I love that. Like, yo, there's just so many gems there. And it's just again, like it's this energy, right? Like, and you have a peace
Mm-hmm.
to you, man. Like you really do have like a nice, calm peace to you, and you are aware of that. And I love your journey, right? I want to highlight the fact that it wasn't easy, right? Like there was darkness in there, right? Like you had to go through something. And like I want people to understand that's normal, right? Like when you find yourself in the middle of the mess, right? Like that's a normal part of the process, right? It is, what did they say in 5 a.m.? It's hard in the beginning, it's messy in the middle, and ultimately it's beautiful at the end. So keeping people like aware of that. So Alejandro, bro, I could talk about this for hours, man.
Me too. We
Like
could
this
talk
is
about this till tomorrow.
for real. I mean, we're gonna have to have a part two where that part two we're gonna come in and it's gonna be strictly mindset. Now, I got two questions that I want to ask you that I like to ask my guests at the end of every show, right? And these are two of my favorite questions. You and I already geeked out on this the first time we spoke, and I'm going to ask you to share it again, which is share two books that were ultimate paradigm shifts for you. And I'm going to ask you to not use Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm going to ask you to not use 5 a.m. Club because I'm going to highly recommend that book for everybody right now. Like, go get that book immediately. Like, Alejandro, you spoke so highly of that book. I got it that night, started it that night, and I was just like, yo, this book is fire. So, like, go get that book, add it in your library if it isn't there already. But can you name at least two other books that were total paradigm shifts that once you read them, you never quite went back to being the same again, since like your mind has never quite gone back to the same?
Hmm. So, okay, is this about like more of mindset or more of like just in general?
In general, like you pick, it could be literally any book. It could be a business book. It could be like a personal diary. Like it could be anything that just caused a paradigm shift in your life that you realize, you know what, since reading that, I've never thought the same since.
I would say, um, what's the first book? The Secret, Magic. One of that. That's the first one. Um, Honestly, bro, like just it speaks so much about gratitude there, and I've noticed something like change in the way I think and the way my day goes. Um, if you realize how much stuff you're grateful for and how blessed you are, it's so difficult to be like in a negative energy. It's so difficult. Like there's so many things that come at me and it just all this negative stuff, and I'm just like, okay. well, I woke up today. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. I don't know what you're talking about. And it's just so difficult to just be, you know, just observing this negative energy. It's almost like it's just bounce off and just swoosh
Mm-hmm.
across. I don't know. And I noticed like the book states, oh man, this is, let me see if I have this. No, I don't. I don't have it on me, but it states something. It goes, um, those who are grateful receive more of what they have, and those who are not, um, loses
Mm-hmm.
what they have. Is even if they're broke, you just become more broke.
Yo, it's true.
So the more grateful I am, dude, no BS, the more amazing shit happens in my life.
You know what's funny? I was explaining this in like our calls, like because I do the morning mindset calls every day, right? And I think maybe it was about a week ago, I was breaking this down where I was explaining, like, guys, like we got to understand gratitude even from like a logical, practical standpoint, right? Like if you're a parent or if you're somebody that wants to give, a friend a gift, right? And I go and I have two friends and I give each of them, like, let's say I make a meal for each of them. And the friend A that I made the meal for is just like, oh my gosh, thank you. This was the most amazing meal I ever ate. You have no idea. Like this meal was just so, oh my, do you have more? This was so amazing. Like they're just, they're getting on Instagram. Yo, this meal that he made for me, this was just blowing your whole spot up. You're probably gonna want to cook for them again. And then vice versa, we got friend B over there. You made that meal for them, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. I mean, it was a little bland, you know. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
the chicken we had last week was a little bit better. This one doesn't quite taste like that chicken, And honestly, like it's not that much. I'm still kind of hungry. Who do you want to cook for? Like I'm not cooking for friend B no more. As you would say, yo, friend B, you're not coming over anymore. Like we're done here. But friend A, we're gonna want to give more gifts to. I'm gonna want to cook for you. Like, man, it made me feel good how good you felt receiving that I want to give more. So if we think about it from that standpoint and we recognize the gifts that come to us that we already have, like you were already given that meal, you just didn't say thank you yet. And you can't say thank you enough. When you're really enjoying what you got, you really can't say thank you enough. So I agree with you, man. That gratitude is magic. And it's something that I think a lot of people intellectually understand where they'll nod their head yes when you say it. However, it's a whole nother thing to actually implement it. And I'll share this one more thing. A couple mornings ago, maybe it was about 3-4 weeks ago, I was waking up early in the morning. I was doing a 3 a.m. like prayer with like Keston's family, right? And as I'm waking up, I'm like, yo, I really 3 a.m. man. Like I don't want to be awake right now. Like I went to bed like after 11. Like I'm already running on like a little bit of sleep this week. And they said, like, yo, I need you to just start saying what you're grateful for right now. Like that was our morning prayer. Like just start for about 10 minutes, just saying what we're grateful for out loud. As I started doing this, it started to feel like I was injecting caffeine into my blood veins. Like I just started to feel energy coming to me. And I was just like, whoa, what is this? Like what, like legitimately, like I'm getting goosebumps. Like what the heck is going on? And that energy didn't dissipate throughout the day. It was there for the rest of the day. And I was like, yo, this gratitude really, really works, but you got to do it. That's the thing. Like you can't just think about it. Like you got to give great gratitude. You got to give grace. So I love that, man. Like that's solid. So that's the secret. That's the magic. People got to pick that book up.
Yes, and also before bed, that book also taught me that they say get like a magic rock or something. I thought that was pretty weird, but I didn't get a magic rock. I just got on my knees really, and I told myself, I asked myself, what's the best thing that happened to you today, Alejandro?
Mm, that's a good question to
Because
ask yourself.
dude, as entrepreneurs, bro, like we go through a lot of mental hurdles, dealing with different emotions, dealing with this, dealing with buyers, title, whatever. And me personally, I'm still happy at the end of the night. No BS, bro. I go through a lot of stuff, but go whatever, right? And that's having that gratitude when you before you go to bed. Like, Alejandro, what was the best thing that ever happened to you today? And then I go, say grace to that. And even when I have like friends next to me, like I see them like frustrated about something, I literally stop them. Hey, bro, what are you grateful for today? And then they start saying it, and then like their whole energy change. Um, so that's that on as far as that. Also, just to throw in a little bit of extra tip on top of that, I don't touch my phone until 8:30 in the morning, and I stop using it. I do my best. Sometimes people do call me for help on something. I do my best to not stop using it by 8:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
because when you wake up in the morning, it's really, really important. What's the first few things you're feeding to your mind in the morning? And if you open your social media, you will see some negative stuff. Oh my God, what's going on here? What's going on in this other side of the world? Or you start seeing text message. Like our mind is like, we have to train our mind to be okay to grasp in that positive energy every morning because it's so easy to be negative. So we have to train our mind to be positive when we wake up. So when I wake up, first thing I do, what are you grateful for? I meditate. I take my walk outside to the trail. I love nature. It's like if people do that for like 2 years consistently, something beautiful and magical about that. Just enjoy nature without your phone. No one's able to reach out to you. And yeah, and then before bed. So that's another thing I would throw in there. That helped me a lot to be peaceful for the rest of the day.
Yo, Alejandro, like what's crazy right now, bro? What's crazy is yesterday for the first time, first morning, I did it where I didn't touch my phone because what I do is like I'll wake up in the morning, I'll do like my prayer, I'll read a little bit of scripture, right? And I got the Bible app on my phone. So I'll use my phone to read sometimes. Well, not sometimes, almost all the time. And what I found was it's very easy to see the notifications of other things, right? Even to just like mentally have to tell yourself, don't look at that. Like it's why even put yourself in that position? So I was like, you know what? Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up. I don't want to see my phone at all until 8 o'clock. Don't want to touch it. Left it on the other side of the room. I went out to my car, grabbed my Bible out of my car, and I was like, in the morning time when I want to read scripture, I'm just going to read the old paper Bible. Bro, I had a fantastic morning. Up since 4 a.m. Fantastic morning. Went to the gym, decided like, yo, I'm leaving my phone at the house too. Like I don't need music. I'm just gonna go work out. What do I need to listen to anything for right now? I'm gonna listen to my own thoughts. I'm gonna talk to myself. Amazing morning, amazing whole day. I problem solved like an animal yesterday. And I realized there's a power to leaving the phone down and not touching it no matter what. I think I shared with you that I leave my phone in do not disturb mode pretty much 24/7. But this was that extra icing on top of the cake. So I agree with you. That's really good advice that people should absolutely not try. People should set a time frame where look, my phone from this hour to this hour doesn't get touched. Anything that's important can wait.
Yep. And also one last thing for the gratitude thing. You have to mean it and you have to feel it. You can't just say, I'm grateful for waking up. I am grateful for my mother. I am grateful for whatever. Get deep into it. Feed your mind that message. I am grateful for being up today because not a lot of people get to see the next day. Not a lot of people, get to experience this amazing life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That stuff really, really helps. Like I got the chills right now.
Yup.
That stuff give you the chills. But when you just write in the, oh, I'm grateful for today. Why? Why are you grateful? Don't just write it because you feel like it's going to help you. Write it because you mean it.
Man, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this conversation right now. I'm grateful that we have the ability to connect. That like you and I both have internet access, which is it's a luxury, right? The
It
listeners
is.
that are listening to this, I'm grateful that they can capture this and they can be a part of this conversation right now. Where for some people, this might be the only place they get this sort of content, right? So I'm grateful that they have this, and I'm grateful that this is becoming a conversation that I can have with a brother across the freaking globe right now. Like it's insane, and I agree with you. That's important that people understand. You got to feel it, and this is why I love gratitude. And for people that are like, man, they are talking about this for a very long time. Yes, we are. because it's an important conversation. And it's a conversation that gets glossed over. It's a conversation that doesn't happen often enough. And the thing about the gratitude is, here's the beauty. It's what you're grateful for, right? Like I used to say, and I'll share this, right? I used to say things that I was grateful for that I wasn't necessarily grateful for. I just knew it sounded like the right things to say. I'm grateful for, like you said, I'm grateful that I woke up. Like I was going through the motion. But there's a difference when you start to tap into what you're actually grateful for, right? When you start to realize, like, I'm grateful that I actually have another opportunity in this moment to be aware, to make a different decision, right? I'm grateful for the fact that life wasn't promised to me today, and yet I got it anyway. Like, that's a gift. Today's a bonus day, right? Like, I wasn't sure. I didn't do anything to make today happen. Today was a bonus day. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for being able to just everything, right? Think and make your personal list. And for you, it might be, I'm grateful that I got to watch anime today. Maybe that's where you're at. Cool. Lean into it. Watch what happens. So I want to ask you now, this is my favorite question. And low key, like I'm grateful that one day I'm gonna write a book with the answers from this question. So let's imagine tomorrow you wake up, right? And as you wake up in the morning, you find you're a total blank slate. Like Alejandro, you don't remember it.
Can you repeat that?
Yep. When you wake up tomorrow, you are a
Mhm.
blank slate.
Okay.
You don't remember anything, right? You don't remember your real estate journey. You don't remember working in the dealership. You don't remember what happened with your stepfather. You don't remember the life that you had back in the Caribbean. Like you don't remember any of it.
Mhm.
However, when you wake up, you're not scared and you're not nervous. It's not a Saw movie, right? So you know you're safe. And you start to open your eyes. And as you blink into consciousness, a thought comes to you. And when this thought comes to you, you just accept it as truth. You don't fight it, you don't resist it, you just take it as concrete. And that thought begins the foundation for everything else to come. What would you ideally like that thought to be?
Can I help others? That would be it. How can I help others? Because that is dude, that just having that purpose in your life, it just keeps you going. I've always, people always asking me, dude, you're making money. Like, why are you working so hard? I've only impacted 20 people this month. I want to impact millions of others. That's what keeps me going. I always tell people, act like today's your last day. Who's going to remember you? When you're in your deathbed and, before you take the plug out, what are you going to tell your mom? What are you going to tell your family? What are you going to tell, your close ones, your loved one? What are you going to tell them? Hey, I did my best. Sales job was too hard. Or you can tell them, hey, mom, I helped this many people. I helped you. This is what I have to leave you behind before I go away. Yeah.
Bro. Yo, bro. I gotta say, you were the first person with that answer.
Wow.
Seriously.
Well, I'm curious to know what was something else that someone said. What would they say? I'm trying to think. What would somebody else say?
Bro, there's a lot of different answers, man. Like some people tell me go buy multifamily real estate. Some people say, just go have fun. Listen, everyone has different answers. So like I love this question because for me, the reason I love it so much is it shows essentially what's at the core of an individual. And granted, people we can change, right? Down the road, 10 years from now, there might be something new at our core, right? And that's cool. It's all about evolution. However, I love getting that sneak peek, that insight of where's the person at today. So I love that, man. Like, how can I help others? That's a phenomenal way to live. So now let me ask you this, Alejandro, for people that have been listening to us go on for about an hour and a half, and they are just like, yo, this dude is the shit. Like he is cool as hell. He's got dope aesthetic. Where can I go and follow you? Like, how do I connect with you? How do I work with you? How do I like interact with you? Like, if people want to get in touch with you, where should they go? What should they do?
You should text me or follow me on Instagram. Can I give out my number here?
Bro, of course, man.
770-380-9050. Text me, FaceTime me. I probably won't answer, but you can still text me. Or my Instagram, which is it's really Alvarez. Just how it sounds. It's really Alvarez. My last name is Alvarez. It's really Alvarez.
Yo, I love that. So, what I'm gonna do for anyone that's listening to, I'm gonna go ahead and drop that information down in the description below, so you can just go click on it, go connect with him, bro. Like, go connect with him, watch his stuff on IG, send him a DM, shoot him a text message. Like, he just gave you his phone number. That's really his phone number. Hit him up, connect with him, and especially if you resonated with this, right? If you resonated with this sort of energy, right? There's a reason, right? So see what it can do, but you got to take action. You can't just sit there and be like, man, like one day I'll hit him up. Like, yo, if you're feeling it, if it really resonated with you, hit him up. And if y'all really resonated with this episode, go on IG, tag Alejandro, tag myself, show us that you were listening, tell us what stood out to you. But I want to know what really stood out to you, how this episode has changed you. So, Alejandro, bro, I appreciate you so much for coming on this show. This was also our first time running it on IG Live at the same time. So I have no clue if when that phone call came, it maybe knocked people off of IG. We're going to find out. I can't even see my screen right now. But, bro, I really appreciate you. I appreciate the time you spent. I appreciate that you shared your energy with me. And if you're ever in Arizona, man, you've got a place to stay. If you're ever out in New York, you got a place to stay. And whatever I could ever do to help you, it's a phone call, man. It's a phone call. It's done.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much for having me on, man. This was really amazing. I'm glad that I got to share my story that a lot of people don't know about me. So I'm glad that, again, I'm an introvert. I'm dark in my little dark room, bro. So you took me out and, you made me share it with the world. So I really, really, really appreciate you for doing that. And for those who watch this podcast and you see my number in my Instagram, please do not feel like you have to provide some type of value to reach out to me, because I see that's a lot of problem with people. They don't take the first step because
Mhm.
they're overthinking everything. Just take the first step. Dial that number, shoot me a text message, or message me on Instagram. I can probably say something that's going to help you and your family.
Yo, I love it. I love it. Yo, I'll see everybody on the next episode and enjoy the rest of your day.